Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about multitasking, why we do it, its effect on our mental, emotional, and physical state, and ways we can navigate it so that it doesn't harm us quite as much. So I was always taught that multitasking is something we can't actually do. So our brain is not actually doing two things at once. It's quickly switching between the two. So we do a little bit of this one and then our focus switches and we do this other one. So we're not actually simultaneously processing both. It's a quick switch in between. So when we think about people who are better at multitasking, it might mean that they're better at switching their focus between one thing to the next or juggling three different things simultaneously at the same time. And when I thought about and learned about mindfulness at first, it was like multitasking, not something we should do, right? Because it takes our focus and divides it up. It creates stress. We're not truly present ever with the one thing because part of our mind is always thinking about what we have to do with the other thing. And then when we switch over to that thing, we have a little bit of our focus still on what we left behind. So it feels like an unmindful way of being in the present, right? We're kind of dividing our focus. But as I have become a new mother, I find myself multitasking all day long. And I don't know how anybody in this role doesn't multitask. And I imagine even if you're not a new mother, you find in our busy world and when we're juggling so many things, it's hard not to multitask. We multitask because we have so many things going on that need our attention at once that we feel like we have to address them all at the same time. That we'll let a ball drop if we don't hold them all at once. And so when we kind of notice ourselves multitasking, we can think about and observe what effect is this having on me. And if I'm full engulfed in my multitasking, sometimes I notice that it takes away from my intentionality and my efficiency in each thing that I'm doing. And this can create some mental stress and sometimes emotional stress because I always feel like I'm missing something. I'm gonna let something fall. It's not getting done. I'm not doing everything that I could in this moment. And the stress that creates, right? I can start feeling a little bit of anxiety coming up in me. My physical world, it depends on what I'm engaging with, but sometimes it can create a lot of tension in the body because you're holding all those balls up at once and we're tight, we're grasping, we're trying to cling, and we're not paying as much attention. If our mind is divided between all these tasks that we're trying to get done, we're not paying as much attention to how our body's doing in that. So maybe our body is struggling a little bit and we don't even notice. We're not paying attention. And so later on we find there's a big kink in our back, a big kink in our neck. So if we feel like we have to multitask, which I do right now, I'll be heating the baby's milk, trying to feed Fancy, trying to prepare my own food. There's a lot of things on that we do at once. How can we minimize the negative effects that it has? Or how can we keep our intentionality even through this multitasking? So the first thing that we can do is be aware that we're doing it. So when I'm in the middle of multitasking, I like to just remind myself, you are divided right now. I like to call it divided because I really am. I'm divided between each task, and a little piece of my attention pie is going out to each one. So I make a mental note. I am divided right now. And I acknowledge the toll that might take on each task. I am removing some focus from one and taking it to others. And then we make a just observation of asking ourselves, is this really necessary right now? Is there something, can I get one done and then tackle the other? Or is it necessary to do all of these at once? How's it serving me to get them all done simultaneously instead of taking one, completing it, and then moving to the next? So is this really serving? We say, maybe it is. Yeah, okay, it is serving. And then we say, okay, well, how can I take care of myself while multitasking? How can I not get overwhelmed or anxious in this state? And just the fact of what we did before, acknowledging that we're multitasking, can help with this one. Because it says, okay, have a little compassion on self. You're doing 3 things at once. Take care within that. Breathe. And don't be so hard on yourself in that multitasking. If one thing goes a little astray, don't beat yourself up. If you drop a ball, be gentle, be kind. Recognize that that's a tough thing to do. It's hard to juggle all these things at once. And then in that intentionality, if you start multitasking and feeling like you have to, you can kind of get on this ball rolling of, we'll just do it all the time. How much can I do at once? And so I like to look at my day and say, when there's certain things that I really care about, I want to put my intention into, I want to put my whole heart into, I will at that time try to say, let other things go for now. They're not that important that I have to do them in this moment. And this one thing that I want to do, I want to really be here for it. So like for me, it might be feeding Miles. That's my 20 minutes many times a day to just be with him, to not be thinking about anything else. And sometimes those tasks, it's hard to be doing anything else at the same time. So when we arrive there, starting by telling ourselves, this is enough right now. Doing this one thing is more than enough in this moment. Let the mind relax, let go of the other things you could be doing, and really come in with that intention that this is what I'm going to be present for right now. And what I notice, even, when I've gotten into that multitasking, super busy mindset, even then when I'm sitting there, I multitask in my mind. So I go over what else I could be doing, what I'm going to be able to do next. And so part of this and recognizing when we've gotten a little too far, our snowball's a little too big with the multitasking, is that in those moments where we have chosen to focus on one thing, we even stop the mind from multitasking onto what we do next, our next plan. As soon as I'm done feeding, I gotta put him down, I gotta change him, I gotta put him down, I gotta wash this bottle, I gotta refill, I gotta pump. Right? So we're already on to the next multitasking while we're in this moment. And so when we take those pauses from our over busy, we try to even put down that multitasking planning. And I do that by reminding myself, I've chosen to be present with this one thing right now. This is my moment to be here with my son. I want this to be a peaceful moment. And so I remind myself, I love that little tiny mantra, this is enough right now. This is enough right now. And you can choose whatever for your day when you set aside a little amount of time. Maybe it's your exercise, maybe it's, your yoga moment, your meditation, but that in this moment, this is more than enough, and there's nothing else I have to pack into this moment. So I invite you this week to look into those moments where you multitask, the times in your life where maybe you don't have a choice, you're just that busy. Recognize that you're doing it, watch its effect on your mental and emotional and physical state. Give yourself compassion in it. Ask yourself, is this really serving me? And then choose sometimes in the day, little blurbs, little moments where you don't, where you intentionally are fully present with the one thing, and remind yourself that in that moment, this is enough, and take that little mental break to be fully there. I have started classes on Monday evenings, 5:30 yoga. That's about all I'm going to do until October. And in October, I'm going to start my Wednesday yoga classes again. And there will be an intro to mindfulness class starting through the rec center. And I will be starting my individual coaching back up then. So please keep following, and I can't wait for all of you to re-engage with all of this at that time. And in the meantime, you can find these teachings in both of my books, which I hope you have read, Healing Mindfully and Living from the Heart. You can find those anywhere you find your print or audio content. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope to see you all very soon.